My name is Stephanie Cans with Not So Shabby from the great state of Texas. I'm here today to show you how to paint furniture. I was encouraged by family members. Stephanie, you need to get started and show people how you do this. I started about 3 years ago. I was trying to figure out a way, how can I supplement my husband's income? I was a homemaker. How can I supplement his income so he could get a brand new truck? Started watching YouTube clips about truck paint, and here I am today. Okay, so I'm going to show you step by step and how easy it is to paint furniture, because I'm not talented. I would say I'm a hard worker, but I'm not talented, and if anybody can do that, if I can do this, anybody can do it, because I can barely draw a stick figure. So if I can paint furniture, anybody can do this. I started, like I said, about, I think in 2014 sometime, and when I go back and I look at my pieces back then, I'm like, oh, yuck, what was I thinking? I feel like I've mastered my technique, and I know what I like now. I know what I'm looking for. I know what to stay away from. I know what's easy. And so I wanted to make this a how-to video on the simplicity of to make a piece that you might throw in the trash to a piece that you're gonna treasure forever. Right here I've got just a few pieces that I will be taking up to the store tomorrow. I've got a quilt hutch that I've painted duck egg blue. I use Annie Sloan chalk paint. That is my favorite paint. I've tried all sorts of other ones, but Annie Sloan is the product, and I have not been paid by her, endorsed by her, or anything. It's just that is my favorite product to use. So I've got duck egg blue here on this quilt hutch. The inside is pure white, and then of course I finally distressed it and I sealed it with the General Finishes top coat. I'm going to show you those products in a minute. And then I also have here this right here, this table. Oh my goodness, this is like the hardest piece I've ever done. It took me 3 whole days to do that. Usually when I tackle a piece, I like to do it in a day. That's my goal. I'm going to start to finish in a day. Unless it's a table, the table's one day, the chairs are another day. Well, this table right here, I found it at a thrift store, and I was like, ooh, this has got a lot of potential. It's got bones to it, it's got meat to it, but boy, did it need a lot of work. So my daughter and I, we tackled this project, and we had to take off the veneer. It's definitely got a character top, and I didn't want to add wood to this. I wanted to keep the original wood on all of it, but the veneer was peeling up in several spots. So we had to peel it, chip it. It's got some, like I said, character to it. Then these right here, this was the neatest piece. I have no idea what this was for really. I know it's a table, but this right here, it's on both sides. You pulled this out and 2 legs dropped down, and I guess there was a leaf, but it didn't really make sense to me because it wasn't the height of the table. So anyway, my daughter and I were like, okay, we don't need this drawer. We're not going to pull it out. We don't have anything to set on top of it. So we took out these probably 30 pounds of wood inside of here that brought out the drawer, took that out, and then we, what did we do, Grace? She's back there. What did we do? We screwed these drawers in, so they're not going to pull out, but I wanted to keep the original handles because they were so stinking cute. Okay, and then there were some holes down there that we had to fill in. But anyway, it's 54 by 46 inches, about 31 inches high, and this is so solid. I'm thinking, if anybody knows what this is from, I'd love to hear from you. I know it's got to be over 100 years old. I just love this piece. So if this piece doesn't sell, I may find a place in my home for it. This right here is a beautiful wood oak table with 6 chairs. I have painted this with Annie Sloan's French linen. Again, I slightly distressed it, and the top was a booger. Ugh. You'll see, I don't like sanding and staining, but a tabletop, what's better than a dark, rich wood tabletop? So if I can sand it down, I will. I do not do chairs. That's not what I do. My specialty is shabby chic. I like to paint with chalk paint. But with a tabletop, this one was a booger. It had such a thick coating of gunk on top that one piece of sandpaper just got gooped up very quickly, so I had to go and use the stuff that removes it. I don't even know what it's called. Okay, so, and what I did is I put a Jacobine from Mini Matte Wax stain on top, followed by 3 coats of top coat high performance sealer. Over here is another amazing piece. This is also super, super old, and you can tell on the quality of a piece by just looking at how the beams were constructed. And no criticizing on the fact that I paint furniture, that's what I do. Yes, this would have been beautiful, sanded and stained, but that's not my specialty. If you look here closely, you can see how the drawers were assembled. That in itself shows the quality of this piece, a solid hardwood piece. It's wood throughout. You'll find that when I'm searching for pieces, if I'm gonna sell a piece for a good price, I wanna make sure it's a quality piece. I do not like the particle board junk, and you get that so much today, so I really like to find the vintage antique pieces because I know that they're well made. This again also is painted with Amy Sloan Duck Egg. You'll find out that I really like Duck Egg. It's one of my favorite colors. It paints so nicely. Again, I've slightly distressed the edges, and like I told you earlier, I've perfected my painting technique. I like a clean distressed versus a chunky, messy distress. Some people like that, that's fine. I like the finely distressed where it just looks clean. And then I try to utilize the hardware that came with the piece because it adds character to it. So all I do is I take the knobs off and I spray paint them with, right here, Rust-Oleum metallic oil rub bronze is my favorite. You'll see that I use that more than anything else. So this is just a few pieces I'm going to be taking up to Katie tomorrow. That is what I do. I find pieces, I fix them up, and I take them to the store. I'm a vendor at a really neat store called KTX Home in Katy, Texas. Okay, now I'm going to get started on this piece right here. This is another wonderful find. I love the French Provincials. They're just so sweet. So I found this at a thrift store, and we are going to paint this pure white from, of course, Amy Sloan chalk paint. And I'm going to show you step by step how to do this. We will fast forward it because I don't want you sitting here for hours watching me do this. I really want you to see how easy it is. I can get this done in a couple hours. Granted, you have to wait for things to paint and all that sort of stuff. So now let's move over here to the product that we're going to be using today to paint this French Provincial chest of drawers. We are going to use shellac. I don't like this stuff because it's oil-based and very sticky. However, when I told you I've mastered my technique, this is one of the things that's helped me master my technique. A lot of times with the antique vintage pieces, the wood coloring comes through the paint and you'll have yellowing or little pieces of brown in certain sections. I don't like that. If I paint it white, I want it to be white. I don't want it to be yellow. I don't want it to be brown in spots. I want it to be white. I'm not talking about the brown from distressing. I'm talking about the brown that, I guess the tannins, I think it's what it's called, from the wood comes through the paint. This right here saves you. It puts a sealer that blocks those tannins from coming through. I don't like using it, but it really has helped. Because you could put 10 coats of chalk paint on here and that coloring is still gonna come through when you've got an old piece of furniture. So this will be my first, well, no, let me back up. My first step is to take a very well-used one of these wonderful cloths and I'm gonna wipe this down. I'm gonna pull the drawers out. I'm gonna use this blower and I'm gonna blow all the nasty stuff out of there because if I'm gonna sell a piece of furniture, I want it to be clean inside as well as on the outside. So my first step is going to be clean this and dust it out from the inside. So just use one of these, nice, and obviously I have to keep washing it because you do the top and you need to redo it. Okay, second step, shellac. I've also mastered a technique of, well, it's not like I mastered a technique. I have found out how to save my brushes. So I use chalk paint brushes for every step of what I do. I love chalk paint brushes because everything I use is water-based except the shellac is oil-based. So I just wash it off and I start with the next step. Love these, I love the way they paint, and you can buy these on Amazon. I'm not being paid by Amazon. I'm not being paid by anybody, at least not yet. This is my first video. This one right here is Featherline. What I do is I just go to Amazon and I click chalk paint brushes, and I look at the prices. I get the cheapest one. Featherline is a good one. Also Mudder, M-U-D-D-E-R, is also a good chalk painting brush. So this is the type of brush I use for everything. Well, right here, I've got an old chalk painting brush that I use these gloves when I put on the shellac, and I'll go ahead and pull it out. You'll see, it used to look like this, but this is after painting several pieces of furniture, it wears down, it wears down. So I put this in my shellac bucket, knowing I'm going to use this to apply the shellac. But the shellac, you don't even want to attempt to wash that stuff off. It is a nasty mess. So I was throwing these away after each piece I shellacked. And I was like, gosh, you know, I need it to last longer. Well, I found out if you put this brush that you have shellacked with inside the glove that you just used on your hands and just wrap it around there and take one of these cloths and just roll it up real tight, it stays wet. And so you can just keep using it. I've used this probably at least 10 times already. I mean, I end up throwing it away when the bristles end up getting too short that it won't apply the shellac well. That is a big saver. I don't like the foam brushes. You use the foam brush and the shellac literally eats the foam brush away. I could probably do 2 drawers and I've got to get another foam brush out. This will paint the whole piece. I'm not kidding, I've probably painted, well, all of these pieces in here that I showed you previously, as well as others. That's my handy duty trick on that. A money saver there. Okay, so let's go back. First step, clean it, blow it, and shellac it is second step. Third step is I'm gonna take my favorite paint, Annie Sloan chalk paint. Again, I'm not being paid by her, endorsed anything by her. I just love her product. It's not cheap. This is, once you pay tax, well, it's $38.95 before tax, depending on where you live. So $38.95, $39 for a quart of paint. This quart of paint, I could paint this piece, all of these chairs, and the base of the table, that table, and that hutch, and I might still have some left over. It goes far. I applied 2 coats of chalk paint on most pieces. Some pieces I may have a spot that I have to put a 3rd coat on. However, most of the time it's just 2 coats. I never get by with 1 coat because that's not the look I like. However, on the 2nd coat, it's a very thinly applied coat of paint. That's why I have my water bottle. My water bottle, I'm constantly pouring water in the can. That may not be the way other people do it. That's just the way I do it. Or I may just spray my paintbrush with water and then dip it, just barely dip it to about here, and I could probably paint these 2 drawers with just 1 dip. So this paint, yes, it's $39 for a quart, but like I said, I could paint all of the pieces in here and probably get by maybe with this one, with just this 1 can. It goes so far, so it's worth your money. Because I've tried buying the other chalk paint that are out there. They're thinner. This is very thick, so the other ones are thinner, so it doesn't last as long. And it might be cheaper, but I could only paint 2 pieces with it. Might as well buy the best stuff out there, and that is Annie Sloan. So, 3rd step is going to be to paint the 1st coat. Let it dry. It dries super fast depending on the weather. Today, it's going to dry really well. Down here in Texas, it's probably about 60 degrees outside. Beautiful. And it's dry, so it's not very humid today, so it'll dry very quickly. 4th step, 2nd coat of chalk paint. 4th step is to take sandpaper. This is my sandpaper bucket here. Like I told you earlier, I like a clean, distressed look. I don't like the chunky look. I don't like that. I just don't like it. So if you see that piece back there, don't look at it. That was like the 1st or 2nd piece I ever painted years ago, and it's going to get repainted. That's how I used to distress. I don't like that look anymore. So I take 320 sandpaper. To me, if I start getting into the heavier grit sandpapers, it has more of a scratched look versus a finely distressed look. So I'll take this paper, fold it in half, and I'm going to show you this later, and then of course I'll distress. We will show you that technique later, but sandpaper, you're going to need that. So that was step 4. Step 1, clean. Step 2, shellac. Step 3, the 2 coats of chalk paint. Step 4, distress. Step 5 is I take General Finishes. Wonderful product. Again, I'm not endorsed by General Finishes, but these are the 2 products that I use when I paint. Annie Sloan and General Finishes. I use their milk paint, and I also use their chalk paint. I will apply a coat of, this one right here is flat. You can use satin, just whatever you prefer. I use the flat because, well, I accidentally bought this one, and I'm going to use it. So this is water-based. It gives it a nice, good, protective sealing, and I will apply a coat to that. That literally will take me let me back up a step. When I paint this, the first coat of paint, it will probably take me no more than 10 minutes for the first coat, 10 minutes for the second coat. Again, 10 minutes to apply this. For this piece here, it's not gonna take long. The distressing takes longer because that's where the art comes in. I'm not artistic though. However, I can sand edges of a piece of furniture. That's simple. But that is where really the character of the piece comes out, is with the distressing. So this is step 5, the shellac, and I use flat. And after that, what I will do is I will take another, not this one, or I could use this one after it's been washed off, and I will take a clean rag, and I will go and I will make sure that there are no gloppy bubbles, not bubbles, but drips of the shellac in corners. Because sometimes you might have can't even think of the word, a drip of the shellac over here in a corner somewhere. I just go over and I just clean it out like that, okay? After it's almost dry from the shellac. That's why I like this product. It dries so quickly and it's water-based. I hate with a capital H, oil-based product. So this is water-based. If it gets a drip somewhere, so I just shellacked it, and I'm gonna wait about 10 minutes to where it's almost dry. But then where the big drips are, obviously it's not dry. So I'll take this wet, damp, clean brush with a clean rag, and I'll just go and I'll get that little drip. Get that little drip off, because that drip might have a yellowing when it dries, and you don't want a yellow drip. All right, so that is how to paint a piece of furniture. Beautiful vintage piece of furniture. You see this, it's beat up. By the time I'm done with this, it's gonna look like a brand new piece. I left out a step, however. I will take off the hardware, simple, unscrew it, and I will take my favorite oil bronzed by Rust-Oleum. Again, I'm not being paid by them, but this is a product I like, and I will just spray paint these, and you'll get that brand new look. So we're going to get started on taking this piece of furniture and making it look like something that's brand new. All right, thanks so much for listening. I am going to go get changed into my paint clothes. You're going to be so jealous when you see how pretty my paint clothes are. You're going to tell me I need to start a site for how to dress. You'll see that I'm just kidding. So I will be back with my hair pulled back and my paint clothes, and we will get started on this vintage French provincial chest of drawers. Thank you.